Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about the cardinality. So cardinality in data modeling refers to the relationship. Like whenever we are having two tables and we need to combine these two tables. So it asks you what is the kind of relationship between these two tables. At that time, there this cardinality option we have to select. And we have to define what kind of cardinality is coming in between these two tables. Now, if we talk about cardinality, there are three types of cardinality. The first one is one-to-one relationship. So let's say if you are talking about this one-to-one relationship, so it happens whenever you are having two data sets and there are these specific columns with the help of which you are trying to define this relationship. And in those columns, the value appears only once. So on the left hand side table also it's appearing once and the other table also it is appearing once. Then that kind of table would be known as having the cardinality of one to one. So if we try to look it into the model view, so let's say if I'm having this order ID over here. And based on this order ID, I was having any other kind of data set over here that what is the invoice number of that particular order ID. So right now we know that every order ID would be generated only once. And based on that, the invoice ID would be generated and it would be only generating once only the invoice. So for that particular data set, if I was selecting this order ID and the order ID in that data set, it would appear only once over here and only once on the other data set. That would be known as one-to-one relationship when the values in this particular one and the other one would be appearing only once. Now, if we talk about the next one is one-to-many relationship. So as per the definition, in a one-to-many relationship, each record in one table can be associated with one or the more records in another table. And this is most common type of relationship that is used in Power BI or anywhere when you are trying to create some models. So again, I'll go in the model view and over here you can see that when we are talking about the orders table and the people's table, so I know that this region name is appearing only once in this table. So if I again go in this table view, click on the people option over here, you can see the region name is only appearing once. But if we talk about this orders table, so this region is appearing multiple times. That means when it is appearing once on the people's table, it has a one. And over here, if it is appearing multiple times, that means it has a many relationship. So it would be one to many relationship. Or let's say if you are saying many to one, in that case, first we are talking about the order table, then we are talking about the people table. So they are just opposite to each other. Depends on what kind of table you are talking about first. So again, I'll go in the model view. And over here, let's say if you want to create a relationship between peoples and orders, so you will drag and drop this region on the top of the region over here in the orders, and it would create a relationship between them. So you can see it has created this one to many relationship. Now, when we are saying one would be listed over here. So icon of one would be shown. And when we are saying many, this star would be listed over here. So the star sign would be coming. That means that it is defining that it is a one to many relation. If I talk about the third one is the many to many relationship. So this type of relationship is not used because it can cause some ambiguity or it cannot give you a proper result whenever you are having many to many relationship because it is not able to identify the proper option as many values are repeating in both these tables. So it is not able to properly understand them. So to use this kind of relationship, what we do is we create some bridge table between them so that we can use this many to many relationship. So if I again come to the model view, we were talking about this one to many or many to one relationship over here. Now, how do you say that this is coming one to many? And let's say if you want to change this relationship, what would you do? If you know that this relationship is not true, and in order to change it, what are the steps that I can do? So come over here on this arrow, right click, and use this properties option. You would be able to see all the properties of this particular relationship. Now over here, I'm having this cardinality option. It is asking me what kind of cardinality is present between these two tables. So Power BI is smart enough and it would try to detect the cardinality itself. But still, let's say if it is not giving you the correct cardinality. So you have got this option over here and you can select this drop down and you can choose the cardinality. First, I have this many to one option, then I have one to one option, then I have one to many option, and then we have many to many option. So let's say in place of many to one, if I was choosing one to many option, you can see it is giving me an error which says this cardinality you selected isn't valid for this relationship. That means it is not able to detect that particular cardinality because it is not right for this. So that's how you can change the cardinality. If it is not coming right, you can change with the help of this drop down. And it would also indicate you if you are making a mistake that this particular cardinality is not correct. Now, after you have chose a cardinality over here, let's say if I'm trying to create this relationship between returns and orders, I know that this order ID is coming over here, which is common column between these two. So again, I will drag and drop this order ID on the top of it, and it has created a one-to-many relationship for it also. Now, a thing to notice over here is that whenever you are creating any data model, it should be very neat. So if I just zoom out by pressing Control and scroll, you can see that I'm having enough space. So whenever you are creating a data model, it should tell the audience that from where and which direction is the data flowing. And when we are talking about this data flow, we will be also looking at this arrow over here. So this arrow is coming in between these relationship. What is the use of this arrow? What is the meaning of this arrow? So for that, I'll go again on the top of this arrow, right click and choose properties. Here you can see I have got this option of cross filter direction. It means that which particular table would be used to filter which particular table. So right now you can see this direction of this arrow. The direction of this arrow is going from people's table to orders table. That means this people's tables would be used to filter this order table. And we have already seen an example. Now, let's say if you are changing the cross filter direction. So in place of this single, I'm using this both option and I'll click on OK. So then you would be able to see these two arrows. Now, you don't need to use these two arrows or both the direction if you are not really sure what exactly is happening in your data set. Let's say if your data is like connected like this. Now, whenever you are creating any visualization, it can give you wrong results and it can cause the ambiguity in your data. So if you don't need this kind of cross filtering, you can just click on it, go to properties, and in place of both, you can select single only and click on apply. Now, with the help of this, I can easily understand that the people's table would be used to filter this orders table, and the orders table would be used to filter this returns table by the direction of this arrow I can see. And let's say if I want to extract any kind of information from this returns, I'd be using this peoples. And if I'm using this peoples, so it would be going through this. So in turn, these three have created a relationship amongst themselves. So also these two can be interconnected, peoples and returns. Right now, they are not having any common column between them, but they are connected with the help of orders. So I can easily find out any information that I required in the returns with the help of this peoples also. So this was all for creating a relationship between the tables and choosing the right kind of cardinality and also choosing the cross filter direction correctly.